Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. Thank you, ladies, for coming out here. Thank you for the support. I used to do this quite often, and I kind of slowed down because life was happening. But on Monday morning, someone that and some of you can do it better than us. With no further ado, I'm going to introduce everyone else, and everyone else is going to come up and do their introduction. We're going to cover basic firearm safety. No matter where we're at, no matter what your skill level is, you always have to cover safety. It's just a reminder, right? Then from there, we're going to go into shooting fundamentals, and then we have some nice toys that you guys will be able to shoot here. Who does not have a firearm? Does not own one? Okay, I know you're covered for. Okay, all right, cool. So everyone will be covered for. Everyone has firearm. Who does not have ammunition? So that's fine. We got ammunition, so everything will be squared away. What did I just say? Sorry. I'm Chris. I'll have everyone come up and introduce themselves, and we'll kind of take it from there. I have Matt here. Matt is an assistant instructor. He's also going to be doing some videos. Does anyone not want to be on video? Anyone work like for the CIA? You got a secret squirrel job? Everyone's good? All right. So we're good on that. We have Soji and we have Juan. They'll come up and introduce themselves and speak a little bit about that. Then after that, you ladies are each going to introduce yourself. I want you to tell me what is your objective, what is your why, and what do you want out of today, and then we'll kind of take it from there. Juan, I'll have you come up first.
All right, so Juan, government name is Dal.
He is well known. Well known.
So I'm also part of a lot of initiatives to kind of spread awareness and skill and knowledge of equipment. And when I came into this space, there wasn't a lot of that from people like us. So, I really wanted to change that. So fortunately, I was able to build a platform that really reaches a lot of people and helps just pull a lot of people in. He's been to some of my events. We own one of the largest black-owned events in the country, and we have people shooting our helicopters. We went from doing it in the backyard to doing it on a crazy scale that really hasn't been seen in this space before. So we're fortunate enough to be part of that and own that. So when he told me he was doing this, it made sense. I couldn't say no. Actually, I was supposed to be in Costa Rica today, and I pushed back my flight, so I leave tomorrow.
So we
just to be here.
You. We appreciate that.
So yeah, happy to be here. I brought some equipment that's going to help you guys. If you guys are not familiar with firearms or maybe shocked by firearms, I brought some equipment that's suppressed, so it doesn't give it as much of a shock value to help guide you into that experience. And then as far as professional background, I spent 13 years in the military as a combat medic. So if there's any medical situations, which we're not going to have today, right?
Yeah, he'll be point.
We're going to be very safe. We're going to make sure that we have a small, what's called an IFAC here. Who's familiar with an IFAC? Anybody familiar with an IFAC? It's an individual first aid kit. So it has stuff in here that's designed and specifically meant to help stop massive hemorrhaging and stuff like gunshot wounds and stuff. We're not shooting these like today, right? Alright, so we have a tourniquet. Anyone familiar with a tourniquet? Tourniquet is once again to stop hemorrhaging in extremities, so arms, legs, etc. So if we have any type of situation up here, just in case I'm the one somebody put down.
That's not gonna happen. But we always.
I pretty much trained under Juan. I've been shooting for about maybe 6 years-ish. I'm an American citizen. It was that these are rights that we can enjoy, so we want to be safe with it and things like that. So I will be assisting him as an instructor. I am Suji again, and I keep it very simple. I focus on the basic fundamentals of pistol shooting. And safe, fundamentals and things. So, like I said, I'll be assisting them, so I don't really speak much, but I will make sure y'all are properly trained as possible.
What's up, everybody? I am Matt. I've been, yes, there you go. It's yeah, just have to press record. This way. There you go. There you go. So I've been training with Chris for about 3 years now. I've been training for 10 years prior to that. So again, just like Soji, I'm a citizen. I take it serious. I have a wife. I have kids. It means everything to me to protect my family and for you.
So for me, you know, I'm prior military. I did expeditions. I was in the fugitive unit. We take it seriously. We want you guys to have fun, but the purpose behind it is about protection of self. Because at the end of the day, you don't choose when a bad situation is going to happen. The suspect or suspects choose. When they choose, it's go time. And how are you going to respond? It's going to be based on your level of training. Right? So that's why we're doing this initiative. We want to spark that interest. We want you to know that you can do this. And we hope that you would continue to seek consistent and effective training, whether it's with us or somebody else. Just vet the people that you're training with and stay on that journey, right? Because it's like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? You have the tool, you need to invest in it. And if you don't know your why is look at yourself, look at your loved ones. I'm sure most of you guys, most of you ladies have children, so that should be your why. That should be your driving force on why you're making the investment that you're making, all right? So again, we thank you for coming out, and we're gonna start with, don't remember your name, but we'll start with you. Tell us your name, what's your objective, maybe shooting background, and
My name, I have a little background of shooting. My boyfriend does security and he does concealed license. I used to tell him all the time he's crazy, walk around the house, draw firing, empty. Tell me all the time, oh, you need to practice, oh, you need to practice. And we drive trucks together, we CDL. We kind of had an encounter of someone trying to break in the truck while we were sleeping, so I decided to kind of take him serious now. We have a child.
I'm Nikki. I think I've shot twice maybe at like a gun range, but my objective is just to get comfortable with a gun. Sometimes the noise scares me, so at the gun ranges I'm like real jumpy. Single mom, 2 boys, so I kind of want that protection too, since I live alone. And that's it.
Hi, I'm Linda. I've shot with Chris probably a couple of times. He actually was one who helped me get my license. My objective is to get comfortable with a gun. So I wasn't comfortable before, and I was involved with a domestic violence, so that was my thing. Just to make sure I protect myself. I have 2 girls, so I need to make sure I protect myself. I had an order of protection, and of course they don't, they only go but so far. So that was my objective, getting a gun and making sure I have my license.
I'm Allison. I have a son. He is 13. I was always raised to be like definitely afraid of guns. It's not the Christian thing to do. Just pray about it. That's kind of my background. But I would say probably about 2020 when the whole George Floyd thing went down. I was like, okay, you know what? It's time to protect myself. So I've been to the range a couple times, but nothing like crazy. The noise and the jump kind of scare me. But I got earplugs and I have the head thing. So I just want to learn from what you got here. Thank you.
Hi everybody. And I just want to get comfortable. I've been to the gun range a couple times and I was a survivor of domestic violence. So just to be able to protect myself in situations like that.
And this is my daughter. Basically, like everybody said the same thing. I do have a piece, but Lord knows I need practice. I put it off. I took the classes and everything, but I need to feel comfortable. I have not been carrying it with me at all because I need to feel comfortable and, like I said, just to be able to protect myself. I did see situations where it was like, and I heard stories. And I am married to a law enforcement officer. Why hasn't he not? But that's okay. I purchased my own pieces and everything, and I just want to get comfortable as well, like everybody else.
My name is Lena. Same as well. I'm here to learn it, get comfortable, have fun. But now I need to learn the right way.
I'm Charlene. I practiced with Chris a couple of times. I'm out of whack. I need to practice again. I did have an encounter, a racial encounter in Smyrna Beach within about maybe 3 weeks ago when a guy approached me in a car and race your slurs, go back to your country, things like that. And I know right now it's getting heated, getting worse, so I need to be prepared. So that's it.
It's Glenda. I've been shooting a couple times. I'm my wife. I live alone and things like that. Again, I've been shooting a couple times, but I need to focus on more accuracy and shooting the actual target. So that's why I'm here.
Hi, my name is Shawana. I've been to the range one time a couple years ago and it scared the Jesus out of me. So I have not been. So I'm like, this would be an opportunity to actually learn about shooting.
Everybody, I'm Daya. So I've gone to the range a few times over the year. There was one point in time where I dated Leo, so he had me in the range on a regular basis. I'm still not as comfortable. I'm not scared anymore, but I'm not as comfortable as I would like to be with my gun. I do carry it, but obviously if something does happen, I've been in situations where I think more that flight rather than fight kind of kicked in and could have been serious situations. So just making sure that I know how to properly handle my firearm for my safety, and then I'll keep mess around and mess around.
I've never shot a gun before, so I just can't. I have two kids. Everybody be like, and I just want one to look cute, but. They got color guns now, right?
Yeah, we got a red one.
That's my big brother Chris right there. And I'm here today because I would like to learn how to shore and become very good at it and be able to protect myself. So if my brother's not with me, I'm able to protect myself and my family.
Hi, I'm Candace. I, like so many of you, unfortunately have been a victim of domestic violence and stalking. And Chris is always telling me I need to train more, so I'm here to train more. Me and Blackiana. So that's why I'm here.
All right, awesome. Thank you, ladies, for the introduction.
You are in a domestic violence situation and you shoot the person, like in jail time, like do you go to jail, like what happened?
So it all kind of depends. So let's just cover the law on justification of deadly force. Florida State Statute 776.01 sometime today or tomorrow with the actual statute, so you guys have that. 776.012, justification of deadly force. If you're involved in an encounter, it must meet one of these three thresholds. You must be preventing imminent death, great bodily harm, or the commission of a forcible felony. So in regards to domestic violence, right, the aggressor would be your significant other or ex-significant other, right? So if they are causing you imminent death, if they are going to cause you great bodily harm, then you would be justified in using deadly force, right? You cannot be the aggressor. So for example, you cannot be the violent person or the one who starts the conflict, and then the other party responds, and then now you're going to claim self-defense with deadly force. It doesn't work that way. Also, one of the things that a lot of people would say is, if your significant other happens to put their hands on you, like he puts his hands on you, if he just hits you or punches you one time, that does not essentially give you the green light to use deadly force. Because then the state's going to say, well, one punch, one slap, how is that going to kill you? And you have to be able to answer that. What is your justification for it? So too many times people get caught up in the one hit. Now where it changes is, if you're being struck multiple times from someone that's bigger and stronger by you, now that changes the scenario. Because now you're being struck multiple times, you don't have the ability to defend yourself, so it falls under that threshold of great bodily harm. So if it falls under that threshold of great bodily harm, that's a justification for deadly force. If the encounter falls under imminent death, which is a situation that can cause you death within seconds, let's say the significant other is now armed, right? The presence of that unlawful deadly weapon would now open up the door immediately for deadly force. It wouldn't need, you don't need to de-escalate, you don't need to do anything. This is Florida, to stand your ground state. So as long as the aggressor is the other party and that situation meets that threshold, you'd be justified in using deadly force, right? And then after that, a lot of people don't understand post-critical. Like, that means what happens after the deadly force. So you use deadly force, now law enforcement is on scene. You must understand something. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. I'm a law enforcement instructor, train cops. You have to understand, when cops arrive on scene, immediately you are suspect number one. You use the gun, you use the weapon, you are suspect number one until we either cleared you or 10-15 means you're going to jail. So you have to watch what you say. My legal advice to you is, after any type of encounter, you don't say anything until you talk to your lawyer. Let your lawyer do the talking. Because you want to prove your innocence, but you have to understand that you're going to say things, right, in a stressful situation that may incriminate you, right? You may walk yourself into handcuffs. So always be aware of that, right? So if the situation you're involved in, if it's not preventing imminent death, grave bodily harm, or commission of a forcible felony, you're probably going to be asked out. Definition of a forcible felony. I'll cover some. Specifically for women, sexual assault, murder. So if your significant other or that person is causing you great bodily harm, let's say strangulation, you're choking, right? He's choking you. You can't breathe. What can that do to you? What can that do to you? It can kill you. So in a situation like that, you would be justified in doing what? Using deadly force. If you have a firearm, shoot. If you have a knife, defend yourself. Blunt force object, or anything like that. Juan, you want to add to it?
Yeah. So if you also have a situation where you have created a barrier between you and that person, so there's a door, right, that's preventing that person from having physical access to you, and they're trying to break down that barrier, right? So you're trying to lock yourself in the car, trying to break the window to get to you. They don't need to hit you, to get that smoke. Once they have broken down the barrier, now they have physical access. That barrier that you've created between you and them, and now they have physical access to you. That may be a different situation than waiting for a physical encounter.
Yeah.
So if you created a barrier, so one, if you know, a lot of times in domestic violence situations, we're familiar with the person that's the aggressor, and especially women. Women try to give a little bit of leeway, right? Create those barriers. Don't try to talk to people when they're in an heightened emotional state. Don't try to reason with them. Just create barriers. Lock doors. Ask them to leave. If you can, record, right, so that you can have a legal defense. Also, if you know that you're in a situation where somebody is stalking you, or, for example, someone said that they had a protective order against someone, and now they're violating that order and trying to break down your door or gain physical access to you, then the situation changes as far as justification for deadly force, because you've already expressed to the court and have documents that express that this person is a threat to your physical presence, and the court already agreed with you, right? So there, it's very fluid. It's not just a point blank. This is what it is. It's very dependent on the exact situation. But what I would say is, if you know that you're in a situation where you have someone who's actively pursuing you to do you harm, it might be advantageous to start getting on one of those subscription services like USCCA, or there's another one called Right to Bear, where I think they do like $10 a month. I don't know. What are those things?
Yeah, so it depends, anywhere from $30 a month as far as coverage, protection.
But what that does for you is that if you end up in a situation, you call that number and you have a lawyer. Right?
Call them first.
Because it's almost like insurance. If you know you're in that situation, right? I'm not saying that you should get it if a lot of people say, well, just by having a gun you should have it, right? I can agree with that, but I'm a hypocrite because I don't have it. So, but if you're in a situation where you just know that this person has really been trying to get you, you might want to get on one of those services. Lawyers are expensive. Bail is expensive, right? So one of the organizations that I work with, they post your bail. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a member, I think $10 a month or something like that, $15 a month. And if you get in a situation, they're posting your bail, and everything you say on that phone when you call, it has lawyer-client privilege. So it cannot be used against you. So you know that.
They will cover you.
right there, you're covered legally.
No experiences where they actually show up.
Because it's not just
Take
winning
care of it.
winning the battle on the battlefield, it's winning the battle in the court as well. So just be aware of that. Alright?
Convicted of any one of these like crimes, like if you felt like you were responding in self-defense, but the state sees otherwise, you have manslaughter, you have aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, you have murder. Any one of those, you're looking at 10 to 20. Actually, sorry, 10 to life. Because if it's a first degree, something like murder, you're gonna do life. So, knowing your laws, knowing how to respond and not react are going to be very important. Having some sort of protection plan, whether it's USCCA, right to bear arms, one of those. If you guys need information, let me know. Those do work. You want to have things stacked in your favor. Also, like what Juan said, winning in the courtroom. A lot of people don't understand that, especially gun owners. They think, oh, I'm gonna do this out here, but then you have to be able to defend everything you did out there inside the courtroom, where a jury of 12 are gonna be judging you. Then the state's gonna start going after your training. What kind of training have you done? So for example, you use deadly force at night, right? But you've never done any nighttime shooting. They're gonna try to establish negligent. They're gonna say you are a negligent gun owner. You've never done any training at night. So what makes you think you were qualified to use that weapon to defend yourself? So we want to expose you to all types of trainings.
Out here doing this kind of stuff is you want to start getting comfortable in high stress situations, right? Because if you're in a high stress situation, if I were to run up on you right now and just grab you, you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to instantly go to panic. I want you to almost have already experienced stuff like this in a training environment. So it's like they think they got you, but they don't. You know what I'm saying? You're used to this. You've done this from aggressors. When I say aggressors, the most informed combatives. They don't get into situations. The most dangerous people don't get into fights. You know what I'm saying? It's like a byproduct of being proficient in that, right? So you tend to be more like de-escalate. You tend to go more to de-escalation when you're a very dangerous person. Dangerous people don't start fights. You know what I'm saying? That's just the reality. So being able to be calm and use your head and think out a defensive encounter. There's been situations, I'm sure you've been in situations where, I've been in situations where people have started, to kind of circle me or whatever, and they don't know, but I'm just sitting here planning out, I'm saying, okay, well, you're this distance.
Got three guys, got the distance.
You're my first guy, and I'm mapping it inside my head. I'm not freaking out, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, this is not fun. Because, see that, we've done it multiple times, so we know how to come out and engage three people, and which one we're gonna hit. If we've done different distances, so we know which one it's easier to hit, so we're gonna go with the harder one first.
Yep, and then work our way.
Exactly, so I want you to be able to start manipulating these things in your mind. So someone's husband, does dry fire in the house, just being comfortable doing stuff like that on a regular basis, where it's almost second nature to you. Right? So if you end up in a situation, you're not trying to think, what should I do? You do this instinctively, right? The rest of it, you're thinking about legal things in your head, like, am I justified to do this right now? Does he meet the criteria for me to pop this motherfucker right now? Sorry about that. You know what I'm saying? But, it frees up your head. When you're not thinking about the physical aspect, it frees up your mind to think logically and make good decisions. You know what I'm saying? So, y'all ready to get going?
Any other questions? I know Alexia has. Kim?
With the new changes with the laws and stuff, do we still need our concealed permit or something?
So that's going to be personal preference. I always tell people yes, because then it shows you've taken the extra step to get the training. And the benefit in Florida is you don't have to wait when you go buy a firearm. So unless you want to wait 3 business days or sometimes 4, depending on how backed up they are, that'll be up to you. But it also gives you the ability to travel to other states that have reciprocity with the state of Florida. So that'll be you. I always tell people yes. Because now with burglarless carry, if you get stopped by a law enforcement officer, you show him that now he sees you as the good guy. Because right now, anyone could be carried because it's burglarless carry until they actually run you through NCIC to determine whether or not. But if you have this, all right, cool. Now I can kind of go on my guard a little bit, if that makes sense.
I took the class like during COVID. So is it 1 year? You have to.
No, as long as you still have your certificate from that instructor and they're still valid, then yes, that certificate's still good to go.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. All right. So anytime we have a firearm, we always want to treat it with respect, right?
One thing I see a lot of people do is, you can see that here, better recoil control. Because again, if you think about it,
That's why
if you think about it, if I'm down here, this is moving back, right? It's gonna be able to, now there's no support there, but if I'm here, if I could literally hold it down like this,
Everyday thing.
it's gonna shoot into that thing. It has a silencer, so it's not gonna disturb your ears, right?
That's
I
fine.
put my hand as high as possible. Now the reason we're going high on the slide is because this moves back and forth, right? When that happens, the gun is essentially doing this. If I'm down here, the lower I am to the gun, the more it's gonna flip-flop because it's just naturally a pivot point right here, right? So the higher I'm in the gun, the more I can control that. So we're gonna demonstrate that. We're going hot, I'm gonna go low grip, look at the gun, flip-flop in my hand, right? Then I go high grip, I'm up here. I'm really controlling, I'm providing an area of support for this. See that right here? And now the energy is coming directly back into my body. You see the difference? So, and was that loud? Did that disturb anyone's ears? Basically, a lot of times we're taught certain things and it's not necessarily the most advantageous way to do things. And because we think, all right, well, we might cut our skin on the slide, doesn't matter how strong you are, because your force is being held here. You just cannot, physically, your muscles cannot bring it inside to stop the slide. You can't even do it. All right?
When your thumb is to the side, that way you can do like this. And you can just, yep, and if it gets tighter, let it, but this is initiating it until you get that round there, and you can just press it down in
Who
your
else needs a mag out of my
You want
first
to be
eight?
like this.
So we got 4 mags, so each person's gonna get 1, so we have 4 ladies already covered.
I think it's 15, so you can do 555 if you want. I don't know.
If you have questions, the important is that when you do have a question, the muzzle is always facing downrange and always at a perpendicular angle as well, right? So we want to make sure that we're pointing that way, right? We're not pointing up, we're pointing downrange. It's safer to be down at the ground in this situation because you have dirt. In an indoor range, you don't want to do that. Right? So put 5 rounds into the chest cavity of that target.
All right. Malfunction. Oh, take it back now. 22. Okay, that was stuff. And I know how to do I'm presenting. I'm now using iron sights. I'm focused on my front sight. My back sights are blurred. It's on target. That was ejected. Good to go. Load it back up. Again.
At this point, go ahead and pick up the firearm with your shooting hand. You're gonna pick up the magazine with your non-shooting hand. Round should be facing towards the target. Hold on, hold on. I didn't say put it inside the magazine yet, the magazine well yet. Visually confirm your rounds are facing towards your target. And at this point, go ahead and firmly insert. Do a firm tap. There you go. Nope, it's supposed to stick out.
Gently.
Then from there, we do the tap. Let's go ahead and rack it. Slingshot method. It's in there. It's in. Yeah.
Next time you do it, just let it go. Okay? Don't, because that's how you get damaged. All right?
And we're gonna come down the line, work on your grip.
Alright, so finger off the trigger, put it on your target. So let's move this in.
Yeah.
All right. Keep the gun up. On you. Go ahead and slowly fire one round. Very slowly. Good job. Keep it right there.
I never told you gently for that. I said the only time I said gently, you went aggressive. You gave me gently. Okay, so you're speaking opposites. Okay.
Go ahead and slowly fire one round.
You flipped it around, didn't you?
Good.
Are you laughing?
Get back up. Relax. Finger off the trigger.
So go ahead.
Yes.
Right on top of someone else's. Go ahead and same area.
Gentle. Take your time.
On you. Go ahead. On you. Slow press. Keep going.
Again.
It is.
Show me.
Holding it still? Yeah. See my headshot?
He's sweating.
You see my headshot though?
Whenever you're ready. Drop the gun. So, are you holding it? Tight grip.
Inhale, exhale.
And this is your admin, okay?
Support here.
Admin
Here.
will come and give you some support.
Boom. Then.
Actually, like this. Nice firm grip.
Slowly press.
Yeah, right. Did you see? Okay. Hey, Mom.
Watch your
So they
thumbs.
cheated, no.
Make sure you have a good grip.
Talk to me. Tell me what you got. Tell me if you got red dot where it needs to be.
Bring the back to your
What's next? What's next? Gently tap the trigger. Stop leaning back though.
You want that.
There we go. Ooh, right outside of it. You gotta be a little bit higher.
Where's your hole? What's your
Take your
aim?
time on that trigger.
What's your target?
Slow press.
See?
Slow press.
I was going, I didn't want to go.
Perfect. Perfect. Hit. Do it one more time.
ball?
Slow press.
Okay.
I know you're gonna get it.
Perfection. Do it one more time. You can do it.
Exhale.
Nice and slow.
That's a nice shoot too. It's a lot.
All right,
but
finger up.
It won't
Keep
feel
the
like
gun pointed that way.
the smaller guns that y'all have.
Finger
So
off the
small
trigger.
guns recoil
Inhale,
more, so
exhale.
they bounce around. Have you shot
Give me
this?
2 more and then that'll
Did you
be
shoot
it.
this?
Slow it down.
Your fingers on the
No?
Shawana good down there?
So let me get you a try. So when you have tiny guns, you know, they bounce around a lot in your hand. Right?
Good, just like that. One more. Do Q&A feedback, and then we're going to do a group picture, and that'll be it. There are some people that expressed that they wanted to go to the gun store. Those who are willing to go to the gun store right after this, let me know. We can set that up. Also, anyone that's interested in setting up some private sessions after this, we can come talk to me, and we'll set it up.
Overwhelmed with just holding a gun, period, and you guys allowed me to feel more confident in holding and shooting. And each one of you guys, all four, excuse me, just gave really good advice and knowledge.
Awesome, thank you. We appreciate that. We appreciate that. Who's next? Start with Nate,
I'll go.
and then we'll go down.
I think everyone did great learning, explaining everything on gun positioning. That was a factor for me, gripping the gun. I feel very comfortable now. And also finding that target using your sights.
All right, awesome.
How she feels in the back.
Shawana?
Yes, man.
Shawana. You know what? I want everyone to give Shawana a round of applause because you did good. You did good. All right, we're proud of you for pushing through. So, what feedback do you have?
I feel a lot more comfortable because that first go around, I was very, very nervous, shaking and going like this. And so when she, spoke with me and we talked about it and stuff like that, so the second go around, I feel like I was way more confident and wasn't as nervous.
And your emotions wasn't as high.
Wasn't going all over the place.
And like we talked about, that's natural, right?
Yeah.
You just gotta just decompress, inhale, exhale, slow it down, and remember, you're in control. So good job for pushing through.
Yeah. I'll go next. It was good. Like one part that I liked is when he would say like breathe, because sometimes I would find myself like holding my breath, and then when you say it, like I remember to like breathe. So that helped.
All right, awesome.
Alexis? I like how you guys were very hands-on. Like, if we didn't get it, you really stayed with us until we got it. Have patience. And yeah, you guys were amazing tonight.
Very good team.
Thank you.
Same thing. They were very patient and explained thoroughly.
And like I said, just learning the mechanics of how to shoot the gun, the process of shooting the gun, and just all of that. I think it really helped me overall and just practice obstacles.
I like how you started off with like giving us information about like the laws and stuff. I like that. I also like the transition from like a lighter kickback into like the big one. So I like to kind of work this up so that with the silence that to kind of.
All right, awesome.
I like that you guys were very encouraging, even when we were doing, if we were doing it wrong, you didn't make us feel like we were doing it wrong. You were encouraging, you coached us through it, made us feel comfortable. So I enjoyed it.
Any feedback?
Y'all did amazing.
All right, yep. You guys did good. You guys can give us a round of applause. Appreciate y'all. We definitely got some hitters on deck, some shooters on deck. So much appreciated.
Hi everybody, we are back. We are on location again. So let me have her introduce us here. We're out here at the fire range and getting some practice in. We did a women's course today, which was so educational, so good. So this is one of our trainers that was out here helping out. So I'm gonna have her introduce herself and explain what she does as part of this as a trainer. And then I'm gonna ask you some other questions.
All right, well, keeping it simple, my name is Soji, and yes, there was a women's course, basic training, basic fundamental safety course today, and I was an assistant instructor.
Great. So, as an assistant instructor, how long you've been doing this, and what made you get into becoming an instructor or just in firearms, period?
Well, I've been shooting for about, about 6 years or so. I've been instructing for about a year and a half.
Okay.
So throughout over time, I'm always spending time with individuals, and I would coach them and just oversee their progress. And honestly, because I mentioned, to you earlier, I'm not very well with my words and things. So I did go and get an instructor's course so I could learn how to present myself better when I am communicating with others, and it has helped. But as of now, I am instructing.
And I will tell you, she is target is on point. Her description of a firearm, her description of how to hold the firearm, instructions was on point. Like, I've never met a woman who was just so accurate the way you were and so on point in describing how the gun is. Also, she's a lefty. Us lefties gotta stick together, and it's harder to shoot. But I will say we're more accurate. I'm just saying. But
very unique.
Yes.
We're not so common.
Yes. So, if you don't mind, if you want to sell your socials on where they can find you, if they can get some personal one-on-one courses, and do you offer one-on-one courses?
We do. I do. I rarely do groups. My training has been one-on-one.
Okay.
Only. Right now, I'm even. One of my students right now, they're like 74 years old.
Oh, I love it.
And she is so determined. She will not give up. She fights through pain. She fights through, just her mental you know, she has mental issues and things where she's always in her head and not doing well because she's focused on her pain. I allow her to rest at your own pace. So I allow her to rest. I allow her, you know, to take her breaks and things like that. But she will not give up. She is determined.
Awesome. Especially at 74. Wow.
Yes, ma'am. So you can find me on Instagram for the most part. I'm on Instagram and it's Soji, SO.GII_. And DM me if you know, want some one-on-one instructions.
Awesome. Thank you again and look forward to what's to come.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. We are here at the gun range with Chris, Juan, and Matt. Today there was a lesson. I did not participate, of course, because I don't do illegal things. We say that all the time. So we want to talk to them a little bit, since this is a Strength in Silence podcast, a podcast for strong friends, just to ask them a couple of questions about coping, about trauma real quick, and about what their experience has been.
Also ask a couple of more questions. I know as new to this and learning to be more comfortable with a firearm and getting my concealed weapons, I know in Florida things have changed, laws have changed, so I'm gonna definitely ask some of those things because I know you know a lot about that. So I'll ask the question a lot of people ask. Being a felon, what are the laws about you having a gun or me having a concealed weapon, and if I had a felon in my house, what are those rules on those?
So essentially a felon is not allowed to be in possession of a firearm. But we have people that one half may be a felon and the other half isn't. So as far as the other half that is not a felon, as long as the felon is not in direct possession or control of the firearm, they're within compliance. So for example, if we're in a car, I'm the felon and you're not, as long as the firearm is on you, it's your vehicle, you're owning it, you're saying that's your possession, it's not like on my lap or underneath my seat, then it wouldn't be a problem. You know,
okay.
So you as the person who has the Second Amendment right, you have the right to keep that firearm. Just the person who's the felon can't be in possession of it.
Okay. Now, can a felon? Is there a time frame where a felon can maybe down the line get their concealed weapon license?
Yes, it kind of depends on what is the charge, but ideally after about 7 or 8 years, 7 years from the time that the case has been resolved. So all debts have been paid, community service, you get an official disposition of the case. From that day on, 7 years moving forward, ideally that's the time frame, and then it also depends on the charge and the process. Each state has their own clemency process, but ideally it's about 7 to 8 years.
So look into that if you guys are curious on that. Find out your information on your charges and your states and what applies to you.
And if anyone needs help with that, they could just contact me, shoot me an email, and then we'll guide them.
We'll give you his links after this. Okay? Go ahead, Nikki. Do you have a question?
Does constructive possession apply for a felon if in the car?
Yes, so constructive possession will only apply if, again, so we're in the vehicle, the felon is the passenger, and I'm the owner of the vehicle, but I don't own up to it, and let's say the firearm's underneath the felon's seat. If I'm not owning up to it, and I'm saying that it's not my firearm, then that person is going to get charged with it because its constructive possession is directly underneath their seat. That's how it works. Or, for example, I have a car, I have a gun in it, I let the felon borrow my car, and I don't tell them that there's a gun in it, and then they get pulled over, and then the vehicle gets searched, and then the gun is in the center console or in the glove compartment, or let's say in a book bag that belongs to someone else. Unfortunately, they're going to get charged with that constructive charge.
Just to shift a little bit, in your experience, and I'd like to pose this to all three of you, what kind of emotional or mental shifts do people have to go through to be able to handle a firearm?
Yeah. So
say what you do real quick. Just give us a little bit background on what you do.
All right. So I'm Juan, and do multiple things. One of them is marketing for firearms related companies. I do a lot of marketing. I do law enforcement demos for equipment. So, for example, if a SWAT team wanted to get new body armor, they would come to me, right? So I do put a lot of equipment supply for government agencies. As far as going back to your question, if you don't mind repeating it again.
Sure. In your experience, what kind of emotional or mental shifts do people have to go through when they learn how to handle a firearm confidently?
All right. So I think initially we all are, especially in marginalized groups, we all are grown with this preconceived notion of firearms, right? And that's what creates a mental, I guess, barricade for us. And sometimes, honestly, we have to learn to let go of those things, right? And break through them, because shooting is not, it's not mental. The actual act of shooting is all physics. It's all physical. It's metal on metal, grease, barrels, springs. It's a mechanical thing, right? So shooting is mechanical. And I could literally set a gun up in a rest, place it in the right direction, and have it shoot itself, right? What you have to do is focus on your own jobs when it comes to accuracy. Now, because we do have that historical, I guess, somewhat of a innate trauma with firearms as a people, right? Honestly, what the information that we surround ourselves with is very important, right? So making sure that people that we know can encourage us in the direction that we would like to go, meaning that they've been where we would like to go and they're coming back from that place, or they've at least been there, right? So seeking out competent people who can guide us in that direction is probably the first step.
Beautiful.
That's up to you.
Well, I'm Matt. I've probably been training for about 10 years. I'm not former military. I am just a civilian who took great, what's it called? Just wanted to do it. You know, my brother-in-law pushed me to do it. He was like, Matt, you should do it. You have daughters, you have a wife. So I think when you're introducing people to the firearm community, I think you have to surround yourself with great individuals like Juan and Christian. You got, just like he said, you got to learn how to let go, rip that Band-Aid off, train, learn the fundamentals, learn the safety, and you know, you go from there. You just start, you know, building that courage.
And I'm in agreement to what they're saying. I'm just going to add this: we all have our own personal trauma and experiences, and we're stepping out on the range. We have to step outside of that and overcome it, right? Whatever the thought process is, whatever the stereotype might be, whatever it may be, we're stepping out. You're following the information. Get comfortable, get confident, and that's where a good instructor comes into play, because that instructor or instructors are here to help you overcome that hurdle, right? We identify some issues, we address it, and we encourage you, we empower you. When we give you the information and then you see that you're applying that information in real time, that's what builds that confidence and takes away from that fear or self-doubt.
Thank you. So how can you, and I'm going to ask you another question in regards to that, as a person that's gone through the trauma, right, and gone through that, how do you think learning how to shoot a gun can have them reclaim their power back?
Because we're putting the power in the individual, the shooter, right? They're controlling the firearm doesn't control them. And I think when we tell people that, and then they actually apply that and see that, it starts to hit home. Like, I control this tool. This tool doesn't control me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The hardest part about overcoming the fear is the reality that you're gonna have to face that fire, right? If you're scared of snakes, you're gonna have to go around snakes. If you're scared of guns, you're gonna have to go around guns. You know, you can't. There's no way around it. You're gonna have to push through that and start to become comfortable, because human nature, regardless of our individual situations, human nature doesn't change. Human behavior has not changed over the last millennia, right? No one is out here inventing behavioral patterns, right? So most of the things that we've gone through, although we feel that individually we feel that it's unique, this behavior has been experienced, this trauma has been experienced by someone else in the past, right? Yeah. So a lot of times we get caught up in our own micro version of the world, but you know, if we take the time to study what other people did in the past as well, because again, everything has been experienced before us. This is just our turn on this earth, right? So that's why history exists. History exists so we don't make the same mistakes of our ancestors, right? So so we study the the pitfalls and the mistakes of our predecessors in order to make better decisions moving forward, right? So looking at what has been done in the past to curb those behaviors and just implementing them. So
if you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it, and that's important in any action.
Now, again, I've been learning how to shoot. I've done personal training with him. I need to go back because it's been a minute. and times are changing, right? History does have a way of repeating something, but times are changing. What do you recommend, or do you recommend people going out there really learning how to protect themselves and being safe? I mean, obviously I'm going to say you do, but
Absolutely, all three of us. The Second Amendment right exists, and every able-bodied person should step into that arena and start exercising their right, get properly trained, and overcome their fears. The reality is some people will step out and they realize it may not be for them, and that's fine. All we want you to do is actually just try. And some people are hesitant, they step out and then they realize, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. They fall in love with it. We see it all the time. And then they're avid trainers and they just want to sharpen their skill set to be better. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's highly recommended. Again, going back to history, if many of us can go back and see that our parents or grandparents might have had a different relationship with firearms and instill those beliefs in us, but where does that come from, right? Because if we go back in our history, our ancestors were encouraged not to have weapons because it kept us slaves, right? It kept us slaves, right? So, and while the other side encouraged their children to learn these defensive tactics from childhood, right? That's what created this hierarchy in society, right? And so now we're trying to curb that by making sure that everyone has the power, right? Everyone, so when a guy who's bigger than you sees you in a parking lot and thinks that you're a victim, and he doesn't know that you're ready, you've been ready. You know what I'm saying? So,
stay ready.
So,
you gotta get ready.
Right. Stay ready.
It's important. It's important, and a lot of times, unfortunately, a lot of people find themselves in a situation where they were not ready. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, that's when they take it seriously. After they've been in a situation where they weren't ready. I've been jumped by 9 dudes. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 2 decades ago, right? Guess why I didn't have it on me? My girlfriend at the time told me just leave it in the car. You know what I'm saying? So stay ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Pretty simple.
Yeah, I just think there's always been a huge misconception when it comes to firearm. Again, we're raised in different areas. I remember when my family first saw me starting to train in Texas. They're like, "Matt, why are you doing this? Well, you don't need a gun." And it wasn't until they recently started to train with us, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is more than just protecting yourself. We're having fun." Again, going back to community, you're building a community. You're meeting new people, very like-minded people, and it's again, at the end of the day, we're having fun.
I want to piggyback on that. So, what's your background is Puerto Rican, you told me, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to claim that because
Yeah.
I don't speak Spanish.
So-
Wait.
I don't want people to look at me and be like, "Oh, he's Puerto Rican. He must speak Spanish. He's from the island." No.
But look at this. What is your background?
I'm Puerto Rican, Italian, and
Okay.
Jamaican.
All right. Cool. So I'm West Indian, right? I'm from the Caribbean as well.
That's what we were wondering.
I was born and raised in the Caribbean. I came to the U.S. as an adult. You have a Haitian background, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Every single one of us were a victim of colonization for our ancestral change, right?
Correct.
And so the same thing was instilled in all of us. So this is not by coincidence, right?
Right.
This is not something that just randomly happened. This was by design,
psychological program.
right?
Yeah.
This was programming, right? And we're trying to break those chains now, by reprogramming, doing a mental dump, reprogramming the psyche.
Especially right now. Right now is that time where we definitely need to take back our control.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't get discouraged. Just move forward.
Yeah.
One question I wanted to kind of pull back into the emotional part. So the question actually is perfect because we saw something similar today. So the question was, have you seen moments during training where someone has an emotional breakthrough? Maybe not just about the weapon, but about what they've been carrying emotionally. And I saw today, I didn't film it, but I saw today one of the young ladies got a little overwhelmed. There was some tears, and Soji very aptly consoled her. And
Clap for Soji.
Yes. I know she don't like that. I could tell already. But you got to give people their flowers while they're here.
Yes,
but
she
talked her through it.
Yeah.
She guided her. She worked with her personally. So what has been you guys' experience?
It's happened multiple times out on the range, and what we do is the same thing we did today. We were able to identify it immediately, right? We pull them aside, let them decompress. We let them express themselves. We ask some more questions. What have you been through? And sometimes some people will open up and say, this is the traumatic experience I've been through. And then we console them. We also empower them, and we don't push them, right? We let them know that they are in control. So if you want to continue shooting, go ahead and do so. If you don't, that's fine too. But you stood up there and you broke that barrier. You stepped outside your comfort zone, and that's all that we want. And we want you to continue to keep an open mind, stand by, still learn, still talk, and then usually everyone ends up coming back up and saying, you know what, I want to finish, right? So we let them know that it's at their pace. We're not overly aggressive. Hey, you're in control. We talk. We let them express themselves. We provide some guidance and support, and then we step back, and then that's it. Let them get themselves together, and then usually they'll come back up to us, like she did, and then they'll get back up there.
Beautiful.
So he covered that beautifully. So I'll address the flip side to that. Is one of the things that people don't consider is that the instructors themselves sometimes are not even mentally ready for what's going to be unloaded on them, right? So, you know, sometimes you just cannot imagine. No profanity on there, right?
No,
You know, sometimes you really just can't imagine. You just can't fathom what the fuck people have been through. Right?
Exactly.
And so, when you have those moments, and then that person is now feeling extra comfortable because now they feel like, okay, this is a place that's actually trying to help me grow.
Yes.
And then they let you know why they're actually here, because a lot of people don't tell you really up front why they're here, right? And then they tell you why they're here, and you're like, oh my fucking god.
That's heavy.
You know, like that's deep. Like I can't, like I'm fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Right. And now you home in your bed staring at the fucking ceiling like people are evil in this world, you know?
Yes.
So, you know, that's another side that people don't really get to, I guess, talk about, is that are the instructors themselves even ready for some of the situations that's going to be unloaded on them, right? Yeah. Because typically people come to this or resort to this when they have no other way, right? They're really backed into a corner, and a lot of women don't want to pick up arms. They don't want to do it, but they don't feel like they have a choice,
right?
You know, so they're here, you know, they're here literally because they're like, if I don't do this, I die, you know. And so when they unload that, sometimes you just want to go knock a motherfucker's door down and go fuck him up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, exactly.
I've been there.
In a man, that's the protector,
you know,
right?
That's the protector in us.
Yes. And the strong friends, exactly.
I want to add to what Juan said, because I every so often I do a class and I have a mental health therapist here, and we tell people, look, come out, and that therapist, that's what they're doing. They're pulling people aside, you know, talking to them, consoling them, and yeah, like Juan's saying, a lot of instructors sometimes they're not prepared when they tell you, yeah, some guy tried to kill me and I was raped and whatever it might be, and they just tell you the full details, and you were not expecting that type of death. And then they're telling you the trauma that they've experienced, what it did to them personally, and now it's weighing heavy on you.
Yeah.
And you were like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
So.
I had one situation where a girl let me know that she was raped by somebody that was around. You know, and how do you, like, now, it's like, you know, and I'm like, so I'm like, yo, you gotta report this dude. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of women try to give grace to men. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, no, you gotta report him. I rub shoulders with this dude all the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And now you have to kind of be like, you know, dude is like, yo, what's up, bro? I don't fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, I'll let you know straight up. They coming for you, and I brought them here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, like,
as you should.
But sometimes it just, you get put in some really tight situations because of the things that are offloaded on you.
Yeah.
So
I think everyone here probably knows someone who's been sexually assaulted or physically abused. And me, I grew up with nothing but women, and I've seen stuff like that, and that's what made me like, hey, you know, ladies, you got to start training. When I came into it, I said, this is what we're going to do. And it's one of those things that when those individuals come, you have to have patience with them and just show love. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, show God's love at the end of the day too, because I'm a very, you know, spiritual person as well. And I don't think God made us to fear things, but he gave us the wisdom to do what we have to do for our family and friends and community.
Indeed. So the wrap-up question I'd like to pose to you. At the end of the day, as instructors, what do you hope people will leave with once you've trained them?
Knowledge.
I like to say confidence, right? Because you can be at whatever stage you're at.
Yeah.
But if you have the confidence to get back up and keep doing it, you know, and you don't feel fearful, you don't feel timid, you don't feel shy, you don't feel embarrassed, you know that it's a process, and wherever you're starting right now, I'll tell you one thing, Soji, if I showed you videos of when Soji started, like, you know, she was shaky, you know, didn't know what to do with the gun, and I have video proof of this. And now, you know,
she's like,
and now her name rings fear in the hearts of men online.
Wait, he's trying to recover, right?
Yeah, he is trying to recover. You see that?
Listen, I've been told, y'all said it, women are better shooters.
Yeah.
Please repeat that
That's
so
a
I'm
fact.
not
No,
lying.
it's true.
Please.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. And lefties are better too.
The new shooter game, that's a far shot.
No, lefties are better.
Yes,
Actually, that's the end of the video.
Lefties are in our right mind. Just saying.
Exactly.
For me, it's confidence as well.
Yeah.
You know, knowledge ideally, but confidence as well. Because when you're confident, you're open. You're able to receive things in a different manner. When you see someone who is not confident holding the firearm versus someone after they've applied the fundamentals, they start getting comfortable and confident, and now you're seeing they're getting firm and their grip is getting firm and they're getting dialed in. That's what we like seeing, right?
Yeah, sure.
So that's just what I'm saying.
I'm gonna piggyback on that because definitely confidence. When I first came to you, and you know this, like I was in a bad place.
We had to stop.
I said it all.
We had to stop because she was like,
I was.
Yeah,
scared as all can be.
So she mentioned to me that her leg kept moving.
And no. He was telling me stance, right? And I was staring, and he was like, hold your position. And I'm shooting, and I'm like this. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like,
playing baseball.
damn. Like, yeah, he kicked, like, that leg, you gotta stand. And I'm like, oh, but now I was good today. Like,
and it's progression. Little by little, everyone has their own pace, and just be confident.
Yeah.
Well, we want to say thank you guys.
Yes.
Soji, Chris, Juan, Matt. This was beautiful to watch. To see some of these women come that were confident, and after your tutelage and your care and consideration, they felt so much better.
Yes,
we
definitely.
appreciate you allowing us to come out here and be a part of this, although I wasn't all the way a part of it.
Disclaimer.
I was. Right. And, you know, to have fun with, to let people know that they can have fun doing this. I appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Tell us where we can find you
where
guys,
can we find you?
your athletes.
I'm on Instagram, TikTok, FTAC.training, YouTube as well.
Instagram, Pew Culture. Just started an X account like a day ago. Pew Policies, it's a product that I make. And yeah.
And I am DJ Focus, DJ Focus. Yeah, I'm on every social media.
All right.
Go DJ.
Thank you
That's
guys.
my DJ.
My DJ.
Silence, carry